All right, one, two, three. We're here with Neels, Michael, and Ian, and I. We're hosting this podcast. Niels, what's going on? It's a
What's
pleasure to
up,
have
guys?
you on, man. What's
Thanks so
going
much for
down?
having me.
Come
I was
on. I
just
Happy
love
telling
yo.
you,
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
started following your account just recently, and I was scrolling through, and I'm like, "Yo, Mikey, who is this guy? You know, he looks like a playboy. You
Who
know,
is this?
I see like Paris Hilton, mutual friend in common, is liking all your pictures and things like that. I'm like, all right,
Word. Yeah, he was just telling me. I was like, I know
yeah,
he has a lot of girls on here. I don't know if you just heard me. I'm like, Ariana Grande's probably on here liking stuff. Because you get like 300,000 likes. And, you look like Brad Pitt, bro. You're a good looking kid. So,
where you
Thank you.
based out of?
I'm based out of Marina Del Rey in California, so Los Angeles area.
Ah, okay, all right. That's what's
and you're
up.
in New York too, right? Like you live in both.
Yeah, I'm
areas?
in New York a lot. I've kind of been LA, New York for like the past 6 or 7 years.
Okay. Dope, dope, dope.
Yeah,
I love your hat.
yeah,
That's Chrome Hearts, right?
yeah. Chrome
I
Hearts,
love it.
bro.
Yeah, I was about
All
to say
right.
it right from the jump. Yeah, love it, love it.
Ah,
But yeah,
Yeah,
so Niels, this is Ian. He owns the Billionaires Club. Just so you know, I don't know if you guys met
okay.
before previously at all. But yeah, Ian, Niels and I connected. Ironically, pretty funny, rather. Like I feel like 2 years ago, not so much connected, but like came in touch. I think through my team, we sent him a product from Michael Lewis, my brand, and we
oh,
sent him a phone case. This was probably 2 years ago, right? Something
Longer
like
even
that.
before
Oh,
COVID.
maybe even
Yeah.
longer. Yeah, and then
yeah, I got my
my
phone
team
case here
branded.
too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And my team, Ian, Brandon, he had
Yeah,
reached
of
out to
course.
Niels. I guess not even you directly, but your company. And I'd love to hear about that a little bit too. We talk about that. Pretty cool. And then I'm on the phone with you. I'm like, wait, I knew Niels. So yeah, we came back from us reaching out to him to his company, Get Glassie, which is a screen protector company. Pretty dope, really cool company. And
Ah,
then we're here now again. So it's pretty cool, small world. But
Glassie. Okay.
yeah, so Niels, I'm happy you're on, like I said, and I'd love to hear your story even personally. I know we chopped it up the
Yeah.
other day, but it was like business to business a bit, which was cool. I'd love to learn about that. Like I said, let's talk about it. But what's your story, bro? Like, how'd you
Yeah.
start? How did you grow this audience? Please tell me. I want to know.
Yeah.
Great question. So it's kind of a long-winded answer, but I'll try and keep it compact. So when I was about 13 years old, I started modeling in Phoenix, Arizona. I was living in Phoenix at the time. And at that time, like Instagram was not a thing. Like I don't even think I had one. And we moved to Los Angeles, California, or sorry, to Corona del Mar, California when I was in high school. And I decided, oh, well, I might as well sign with an agency in LA. Not knowing much about it, I just knew there'd be more work. So I signed with an agency in LA. Kind of same timing Instagram was becoming a thing. And I had just naturally been the guy in middle school who was like, oh, let me take my soccer friends and my friends from church camp and these girls from my neighborhood and let's like bring them all together. So I was always just a very social guy. So when Instagram came out, like I naturally just started to grow a following because I was just super social and always trying to connect people. And then when I was about 16, I really just had this gut feeling that like school was just bogging me down. And I was so excited about like growth and development and like learning, but I was so uninterested and enthused by what I was learning at school. And the fact that that like dictated what the next chapter in my life was really bothered me. And I grew up in an entrepreneurial household. Like I've watched my dad
Mm.
start a business at my dining room table and now recently sell it. So seeing that kind of process from, from the beginning to its full fruition was something that really inspired me. And I always was like, I know I'm going to do something similar, but I don't know what yet. So I kind of just started taking advantage of like the fact that I was naturally growing online. And I started to learn what people like. So for example, like, selfie photos,
They like
shirtless,
my
like
eyes. They like my jaw. They like my
yeah,
nose.
yeah,
I saw one of
I
exactly.
those
love you,
pictures, like
bro.
a 10-pack or an 8-pack,
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
exactly.
Okay. So you
So
started
it was,
catching on to that.
yeah, and it was
Okay.
pretty easy to see, right? Like it was
Yeah.
obvious. Like those photos would get a lot of engagement and the other stuff just didn't. So pretty quickly I started to grow like pretty rapidly. And come sophomore year, so second year of high school, I was like, all right, I gotta get out of here. Like, I don't have a full plan, but I gotta get out of
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
Sorry guys.
That's why I
I was like,
said
I don't
it,
have a
man.
full
I know you have 1,000 girls calling you, so
plan.
I had to
I know
mention it.
it's
You,
all my
man, don't matter. It's all love.
it's all my software stuff. I get notifications every morning from all kinds of stuff.
That's
Um, anyways, so I moved. I decided I wanted to move to
Can
New
I just
York,
stop you
right?
for a
I was
second?
like,
1 second. Can you tell
yeah,
me how old are you? Because I know you're younger. You're like 24 right now, right?
I'm 23 now. Yeah,
Oh, 23. So I'm trying to gain, like, I'm trying to understand, like, you were a sophomore in high school. How old were you at this time? And like,
I
what
was
year was
16. I was
and it was
16.
what year did you graduate high school? You probably
I
remember.
didn't graduate. Well,
Okay.
technically later on, I ended up finishing via
You
like
would have.
a program.
Yeah, what
So
year was
I
this
would have
though?
graduated. I don't even know what year I would have graduated. I'm like so out of touch with school.
Yeah,
Like
no,
once
but
I
I'm
left,
trying to
it was
catch
like,
on with, like, because I know Instagram would caught on around like 11, 12. When did you start your account? You remember that? 2012, or were
I
you
don't
later?
know. No, I don't know. I mean, I started it in middle school and I had a few, by the time I was a
Okay.
freshman in high school, I probably had like 10,000 followers. So it was a
Yeah,
lot for
yeah.
being a high
Sheesh.
school.
So
Like
you went through
it
the
was, it
school
was,
with it. Yeah, I'm a little
yeah,
older, so I had
exactly.
college with it, and I felt it a bit in college, and I stopped
Yeah.
going to college my third year or so, and never
Right.
really graduated. I still have some credits and etc., but I was able to walk, which I finessed, which was cool, but never
That's
got
it.
that official diploma. Yeah, but it's interesting, man. We have so many similarities, but please continue. So you're in sophomore year, you're
Yeah.
catching on. You have your following already, which you had in probably freshman year, you had 10K. So sophomore year, you're probably booming a bit more, and you're like realizing, wait, this is a business. You're coming from an entrepreneurial background. School's giving me what right now? The kid to the left picking his nose, right? I feel all these. I feel the vibes. I hear you. So what happened
Yeah.
now?
So I literally went to my parents and I was like, look, I don't have a full plan, but I'm gonna put something together and I want to talk to you guys this weekend. And I literally put together like a pitch deck to my parents of why I should move to New York and what it's gonna do for me. So I remember sitting in the master bedroom at my house in Newport and I asked my parents, I was like, okay, if you were to tell me what you want me to learn by the time I leave school, what are those things? And they're like, well, we want you to learn basic communication skills. We want you to learn
That's
basic math skills so you can pay your rent. We want you to learn, these four things. And I said, okay, great. Those are great things. Now let me tell you what I'm doing today in school and how that's contributing to those goals that you have. And then let me tell you what I'm doing today personally with my own life and controlling my own destiny. And after I kind of walked them through it, they're like, kid's got a point. Kid's got a really good point.
Totally.
So they basically were like, look, you can move to New York. And, I had saved up money. I started washing cars when I was like 12 years old or younger, even. I don't even know. And I was washing my grandpa's cars and my neighbors. And I started to build up a clientele. It was my first company, Visser Cleaning Co. And I'd saved up some money. So when I asked my parents to move to New York, I was like, look, I'll get first 3 months rent. After that, I don't know. I either come back or I figured it out,
Yeah.
and that was it. So I went. It was just before around Christmas time. Got an apartment, moved out to New York, and signed with an agency in New York. I signed with IMG Models, and
all
very
they're
quickly
good.
after, yeah, they're great. And very quickly after, I basically was like, so I'm supposed to go to Europe and do like the proper walk around, fashion week, circuit. So I'm going to all these castings. I'm going to like 13 castings a day with my book and my skinny jeans and like, $100 for pizza and weed or whatever.
Word.
And I'm like walking around. I didn't book anything. I already hit London. I'm in Milan now, and I finally got a call back for a show for Dolce Gabbana, and I was like,
Oh,
oh hell
that's
yeah,
I'm
That's
going to one of the Dolce Gabbana shows this
I
month.
was
They're
about
doing
to
a
say
pop up
when
here in Miami.
That's amazing. When you
dope.
mentioned models, Ian's like, "Oh, I dated a few of those. I dated a few."
Yeah,
It
yeah.
clicked for him. I felt the click. But this is
We're in
super dope.
Miami.
So you got called from Dolce Gabbana, right? That's what
Yeah,
happened.
so I got a call from Dolce, and then my agent was like, "Look, like you booked a show," and I was like, "Oh my gosh, like this is so cool!" I was so excited because that's the whole goal of going to Europe is like you walk some shows across London, Milan, Paris, and then you come home and you've got this great, this great portfolio of work you did, which will help you get campaigns and work.
And
So,
you
anyways, I get the
documented
job.
that on Instagram. I saw,
Yeah, dude, I
scrolling through your
documented the
feed
whole thing.
Milan. And I was like, oh, okay, all right, cool stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically I'm at the show and I'm downstairs. Like, you go to hair and makeup like 4 or 5 hours before a show. I'm sitting down there and I was like, I gotta like do something to stand out. I don't know what I can do to show this brand that I'm different, but I gotta do it. So I posted on my Instagram story, I was like, yo, I'm at this show, come and meet me. and I'll say hi to you guys after the show. And I had like 250K at the time on Instagram, and I was like, maybe 100 people would be insane. And I remember I finished the show and I walk out there, and there was a barricade of people. Like, I'm talking thousands of people. The street was shut down, like shut down. There was no traffic. I walk outside and I start like talking to the fans. They're screaming, paparazzi, everyone's going crazy. And the cops literally tried to arrest me because they're like, you're the reason this happened. This is an unorganized act of crime. And it's technically considered an act of terror when it's a large group of people are organized and without a permit in a public place in Italy. So I'm literally sitting there like getting handcuffed in front of thousands of little girls. Like, what the fuck is going on?
And what year was that?
I was 16 or 17. I don't remember. And
Wow.
anyways, the client sees me. The Dolce & Gabbana client, who barely knew my name before, sees this happening. And they go up to the police in Italian. They're chatting, and they let me go. And the client was like, "Oh yeah, Neil's like, no problem. Like, don't worry about that. Like, you're totally good. In fact, you should go back outside and like talk to your fans." And I was like, "Okay, great." So I went out there. I took more photos, hung out for probably 30 minutes, got everyone screaming. It was great. And then I walked back inside to the venue, and the client from Dolce was like, "Look, what are you doing tonight? We'd love to have you at the private dinner. We'd love for you to go to the store and we'll fit you in a custom tuxedo, blah, blah, blah." Instantaneously, my life changed. The way that the client viewed me, from being a random guy who walked the runway to being someone who has a barricade of 17-year-old girls outside, just completely flipped the switch. And I woke up the next morning. I did that event. I woke up the next morning. There was 2 separate Vogue articles about me. One was like, the Meet the Models giving Kendall Jenner and Gigi Hadid a run for their money, and another was like, Meet Neels Visser, Vogue Italia. And it was like the next day.
Vogue Italia. That's like amazing.
Yeah, so it was nuts, dude. So then obviously you imagine I go home from that trip with like all this great hype. And I immediately landed my first campaign with American Eagle. I got another campaign. I got a watch campaign. I got a fragrance campaign. I mean, my career just blew up. Like, I went from being a nobody to blowing up really quickly. And that also helped me, grow my following. It started to cross-pollinate one another, where I would do something big in the modeling world. It would expose me to a new audience, and all of a sudden I'm at 1 million followers. And then I'm doing more jobs. And once I kind of got to that 1 million was when I really started to think, okay, this is legit. I've got an opportunity to build a long-term business. I could drop products. I could start a marketing company. I could do whatever I want at this point, as long as I nurture my baby, AKA I just keep the following growing and I keep that community good. So, obviously, kind of as anyone would, I met so many different people around the world, different industries. I had so many different ideas. I mean, I swear I was like drowning in ideas, and people would call me once a week, like, "Yo, we got to do this thing, blah, blah, blah." And it took me a minute to sit down and think, okay, what do I actually want to do next? And one thing I'm passionate of is music. So I really wanted to DJ. So I started focusing a lot on developing myself as a DJ and a producer. So I went to production school here in LA. I was taking online classes. I was meeting with producer homies of mine, just producing as much as I possibly could. And kind of throughout that process, I became connected to one of my now business partners, Christian. And we basically just really collectively had the same vision of like what we can do with this whole social validation, and what we can do with building out a community, what we can do business wise in this social influencing world. And basically, yeah, and basically from that moment, we were like, why don't we create an agency where we can funnel everything, whether it be brand opportunities for myself or brand opportunities for 10 talent that I know that we could get deals for. Then we started doing, a lot of video marketing for, whether it be a crypto company to, Fortune 500, you name it. So we kind of built like a really good marketing collective of like content creators, production, influencers, models, you name it. And from there, we basically had, kind of like a
creative
all-encompassing,
right?
Yeah, all-encompassing creative agency. The word today gets thrown around so loosely; it means 1 million things, and that's kind of what we were. We were doing 1 million things. We didn't really have a clear direction. But we always knew that there was something special about our team and what we could do. So we're always kind of thinking, well, what's our beats? You know, where's our Dr. Dre beats Apple move? Like, how are we making that $1 billion move? And for us, we're like, well, where's their opportunity? And this was like a 2-year process. While we're running the agency, we're sitting here thinking, where's their opportunity? What can we do? And we probably whiteboarded out 3 separate, entirely different concepts and built them out, like started laying foundation for like 3 entirely different projects. And kind of through one of them, we came to the idea that products are such a great business to be in. And if you can find a unique niche in a product, something that hasn't been done and something that can be mass marketed, you potentially could crush it. So we're sitting here thinking, where is there an opportunity in products? And we're really inspired by social media, right? Well, we thought the phone is something that we're not going to make a phone. I'm not going to compete with Apple. But cases are pretty cool. There's some opportunity in cases. There's a lot of brands out there. It's very competitive. But the front of the phone, that's untouched real estate. We sat there thinking, well, what if we created something?
I saw this in the story earlier today.
Where you could have like, you know, these influencers that we're working with. What if I could take Logan Paul's logo and put it on a screen protector? Or what if I could take this YouTuber's logo and put their mantra on a screen protector and have them sell it to their fans? So my father he's been working in China for, his whole career. He's been manufacturing products in China. And I started going to China when I was like, I don't know, 10 years old with him, just to meet the brokers and go to the factories and kind of learn the whole process. And I met, a really great contact there who's now our contract manufacturing partner. And I hit him up and I was just like, hey man, we got this idea with glass and ink and we want to put logos on it. We want it to disappear. Like, do you know someone? He's like, we could find someone, no problem. So we found people that we thought could do it, and we tested for months and months and months. And when we got the first samples in our hands, and we tried like 10 different brands of our friends, like different, Coca-Cola, Coachella, like all these things, we were just like, what if we did this? And when we got them, when we touched them in our hands, we're like, holy shit, this is really cool, because it's a protective screen protector. So it has a functionality, utilitarian product attribute. Yeah. It's unique because no one's ever done it. No one's ever seen it. And it's something that we can completely own if we market it the right way. And having the opportunity to work across sports, music, fashion, entertainment, influencers, B2B, we were like, this is our launch pad. We can do anything with this. And as long as we're successful with our beachhead, which to us is the screen protector with the disappearing artwork, we can touch cases, we could do cables, we could do speakers, whatever the hell we want. We just got to penetrate the market with this product. So
and it gives you privacy too, right? Because you got to look at it directly. Like you sit next to.
Well, when the screen goes,
we can do privacy.
Yeah. You only see, and you're also able to personalize. That's like what you mentioned just now too, right? Like you're able to add your own message, so you could collaborate very much so, like horizontally, you can scale it. There's no like limit.
Absolutely. We're working on right now, it's actually kind of an annoying process to manufacture the product. We're working on finding a new way to manufacture it, which would allow you to potentially, go online, write in, my name is Michael and I like palm trees. And then we can either generate a design for you or you could submit your own logo. So that's a goal. We're not there quite yet. Long term, that's something that we will accomplish. But where we are today is we're really obsessed with the drop model, right? Supreme, antisocial social club, hype beast model, where it's like, see now, buy now, you missed out. Because creating FOMO is huge in terms of brand longevity and marketing, as well as creating that community of people where you can send a text message, send an email, send social media blasts and say, hey, we have this new drop coming, and sell it out. To us, that's more exciting than going and selling at retail. We're in Nordstrom's right now, and it's super awesome. We're very thankful. It's a great branding play. It's more of a marketing thing, though, right? Like, we would love to sell $1 million worth of product in Nordstrom's, but I would rather sell $1 million worth of product on my website because I control every message, every touch point. I own the customer. That's the money. Exactly. And that's long-term, the value that equates to our valuation. So yeah, that was about 3 years ago, almost 2019, that we started the LLC. And, today we've raised a few $100,000. We're, actually going to be opening up another round towards the end of this year, potentially a little bit earlier. We recently just got the rights to our patent, which was about a 3-year process. Very expensive, very long, and very difficult, but we're finally here. You know, now we have a patented product, so we're beyond ecstatic because no one can enter the market. You know, at least right now we've got the US, we've got Spain, we've got Finland, you know, across Europe. So we're going to develop it out long term and build it out to other, you know, territories so we can expand that. But we've got protection, and the only thing against us now at this point is execution. But we've got a clear road and lots of ideas and a great network. So we're ecstatic, man. We're at a point now where we're seeing growth, and it's just fun. We're getting into a really fun part of the business.
That's amazing, man. I love the whole thing, man. There's a lot. You got it, you know. You got it. I hear you talking. You know what I'm saying, Ian?
Yeah,
Like, you
I
know,
know, right? You can tell when people are in sync with their
yeah, when they
brand and their
got it. You know,
product, the
like the
authenticity, all
same.
that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
like
love the
Yeah, no,
story of Milan, you know, like
yeah, you're tapped in.
thanks.
You're
Yeah,
back
tapped
when
in.
Instagram was brand new. Like, how do you get their attention? And you just posted it in a bunch of, that's awesome.
Yeah.
You know,
You know,
I
I
could,
heard
and now
a
you're a
lot.
DJ, so I could see how you and Paris are like friends and follow each other. And stuff,
yeah.
you know? Yeah.
You know, I feel a
Exactly.
compilation, you know, man. Like you have a lot of unique traits that
I
they
see
just
that.
combine
Yeah.
together, you know. Like I see you already in school. You were the type of kid walking in the hallway, like, "Yo, fly kicks, bro. Those are fly. Yo, what up?
Yeah,
Yo,
yeah,
what up, bro? Yo, I'll
yeah,
see you later tonight, right? You know,
yeah,
you kept it going,
yeah.
kept it moving. You were open,
Good
so like,
energy.
yeah, good
The
energy,
energy you
and
put out, that's what you attract. And you got to talk
mm,
to people and be friendly in order for your business to be able to grow, you know, and
yeah,
scale.
yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But it
I see
comes
you started
natural.
young.
I feel
Yeah,
like it comes natural for
exactly.
you. Yeah,
Yes.
it's not even like, you know, and then from that with the apps, right? You combined, you just like sync with it because it's an extension of how sociable and how outgoing and how much it's like an interface. For me, it was too. I was the
100%.
same kid. I was best dressed in my high school. You know,
Hell
I
yeah.
was the
I
same
could see
kid,
that.
bro. Everyone was like, "Yo," and I'd be like, I was the first one to be like, "Yo, fly, yo," you know what I mean? I'm that. You could probably
Yeah,
catch
yeah.
that too. So when Instagram came out, it just clicked. And super similar, you know, I stopped going to college because I dropped Michael Lewis. We did $1.4 million the first year. I think I might have told you on the first call. So and let me tell you, like you just
That's what's
touched
up.
on, that 1.4 is a lot nicer coming directly through, you know, that site than, you know, 90 different wholesalers or
Yeah.
even one. That money's unbelievable too, you know, right? Easy,
Yeah.
great money,
So
one
money.
transaction instead
Yeah.
of 1,000, you know, but yeah. But yeah, man, I love everything. I feel there's a lot of similarities and I love the story. And it's awesome that you got IG while you were in high school. That was a great moment because you were able
Yeah.
to naturally flow and build with it and learn. And then later in life, it became a business tool naturally, which is awesome.
You know what it is? It's like when I was younger, I always wanted to learn like how to succeed in business. But when you're young, like there aren't really tools there for you. So part of when I left school, my parents had a contingency was I couldn't drop out. Because it's high school, you can't, like you have to go. So they were like, look, you got to read these books. If we tell you to read something, if I send you an article, you read it. And I was like, all right, fine, no problem. So I did that. And that in combination with me just having an inkling feeling to always want to be around older people. Like I was like the little brother who was hanging with my sister's homies when they came over. Cause I was like, you guys are older, you're cooler. Like you know more shit. And I wanted to be around that.
Your old
So
soul that comes together.
exactly.
I'm saying unique
Yeah.
variables, bro. That's
Yeah.
what goes
Yeah.
on, man.
And I went
See,
to college, I got my degrees and things like that. Then afterwards, I was like, what do I do next? You know? And then I found out, I think it was Babson, you know, and I was like, I should have went there instead, you know, because they make you start your company while you're there in college. And then by the time you
Sick.
graduate, they make you sell the company. So you know how to like start a business and how to sell it, everything in between. And you got all
Wow.
this stuff from your parents, you know? So
word,
it's
that's
awesome.
Yeah.
major. That's major.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now that
I mean,
entrepreneurial absorption, bro, at a young age, and then you have, I feel, really cool, dope parents that are open-minded. I have the same type vibe too, thankfully.
super.
Not to be like we have the same everything, but you know. And then I know the parents, right? They're like, "Yo, I'm with it." You probably broke it down like crazy though. Like, look, mom,
Yeah, yeah.
dad,
Do
I
you
gotta
have any
follow.
brothers or sisters?
Yeah, I have an older sister, Kendall, who she now models and she works like in marketing. And I have a little sister, Olivia. She's still in school. I think she's a junior in college, so she's gonna be out soon. But I'm in the middle.
You're the middle. Okay, all right. No, that's
Yeah.
always cool to hear, you know?
Yeah, 100%. I heard that the older sister, and that's where you get the game, right?
I can
You have
imagine
one older
Yeah.
everybody's
brother.
entrepreneurial, you know?
And my older sister, I always tell people, I'm like, she's 10 times cooler than me. Like, she's the vibe. I show up to hang out.
That's
Like
it.
everyone loves my older sister. She's the sweetest, most easygoing person. And it's funny because I'm sure, as you guys know, like if you had an older sibling, like when we grew up and I started hanging with her friends, it was like so natural. And then when I kind of, in some ways, I grew up faster than my older sister because she was still in college. Meanwhile, I'm shooting a job in Tokyo, or I'm in, South America walking a runway or whatever. So I kind of grew up quicker. And then when she came out of college, I was actually, at the time, that very summer, I was like, oh, let's go to Bali with my at the time girlfriend. And we just screwed off for a month. I was like, I can't do fashion week this year. Like, I gotta dip out. And I introduced her to like some of my friends that were in Europe. I was like, yo, please take care of my sister. Please show her around. I'm not going to be there. And instantaneously, she's calling me, FaceTiming me with all my friends, like just completely integrated. So it was mad cool because right after school, it was like a little bit of her world came into my world, and then all of a sudden just collided. And it's like so communal and so family like now. Like our friend group is all one. So
Yeah,
it's just,
yeah. It seems
it's
full
cool.
circle too. Like you were chilling with her
Full
friends,
circle.
and then you connected her with yours, and vice versa, right? Full circle
100%.
type
That's
moment.
kind of
100%.
how I feel like we are on Instagram too. You know, all the people that we
Exactly.
represent and that Mikey represents over there too. We're all kind of like in the same circle, you know. So we're all
Yeah.
friends. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like a
Exactly.
matter of time. I feel like how things are working, right? Like you're in this space, and you probably sensed this a while ago, and that's how it goes. Like it's a matter of time. D&G or Dulce, whatever calls you, that's gonna happen, or you're gonna connect with me. It's interesting how we buzzed past each other very slightly in the past, right? We touched on it,
For
but it's
sure.
like that, right? You find like it's amazing. I feel like we're so at it. We're so, I don't want to say hungry, but we move like turtles,
Ambitious.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, ambitious. I love that. Yeah. And it's also not like I feel, as I grow and get in, further, you as well, I sure you see, like I just said, like we're connecting these dots. Like I'm so happy
Yeah.
we connected, man. And I feel like you felt that too. The first time I spoke with you, when that call ended, I was like, yo, that's a mindset right there. Like that boy is powerful. He's got it. He's tapped in. You know what I mean? Whether he's going his Brad Pitt route or he's going his Warren Buffett route, or both of them together, he's going somewhere. So I'm so happy we connected. That story is amazing.
Yeah.
And I want to know
Me
too.
too,
So
bro.
now you're going into the Get Glassy world. That takes time. It's being an entrepreneur,
Yeah.
as you know, but you're savvy. You seem like you know what you're doing. Your partner, Christian rather, is awesome. He's solid. How are you doing with modeling? Are you actively like modeling even right now as much? You are, right?
Yeah, great question. Yeah, great question. So I'm actually the male face of Michael Kors right now. I'm in their spring summer 22
All
campaign.
right.
So if you look at their Instagram, their website, stores, whatever, I'm plastered all over it. It's like myself, Bella Hadid, Cindy Bruna, Alton Mason, with one other blonde girl, I forget her name, but really great crew. Shot by Lachlan Bailey, Pier Giorgio Cassid. It's like it's as gangster as it gets. And I did,
Yo, let me get the game, bro.
yeah.
I
So I
love it.
did spring, and that's out right now. We shot that in St. Bart's earlier this year, and then I have summer coming out with them as well. So I'm in the next two campaigns, which is just stellar. So obviously during COVID, the whole world shut off. A lot of our work typically is international. Like most of my big jobs, I fly to London, or I'm flying to Portugal, or I'm flying somewhere far, and we're shooting a massive campaign. That erased during
These
COVID. It was,
companies had to really work in their own little vicinities, right? The
dude,
traveling was 10 times harder for
and,
them.
and like there was people doing at home fashion shows. Like I'm talking Fendi was
Big.
doing like $100 budget fashion
Yeah.
show and streaming it to the world. It was
Yeah.
like just
Like
very
we work
wacky
from a
time.
media end. I got a very glimpse. You get it from that forefront, but from
Right.
buying with Forbes, buying with El Oficial, or buying with Vogue and talking to them, they're like, we're arranging a shoot at the fountain down the road. It was supposed to be here and do that. And this one was supposed to come in from there. They were just setting up mom and pop type things because they need to create. These are 100-year-old
Exactly.
publications, like, El Oficial or, Vogue, right?
Yeah.
So it's crazy. Word. So you would,
Yeah.
instead of moving, where were you? Where would you go? You would just stay like where, in LA, or like how was
When
that?
what happened? When COVID
Like
started, you're saying?
Yeah, like any activity, like shooting wise. How was shooting during this time? Like even this Michael Kors shoot. Like where did you shoot that?
So we shot in St. Bart's, and it was in November, so COVID was still very much a thing. In fact, I remember I had not got COVID the whole time, right? And I had not done a big campaign the whole time. Of course, the fucking Monday before I'm supposed to head out there, I get COVID. And I'm
We all
sitting
had
there like,
COVID at some point, you know?
I'm
I
like
didn't get it
freaking
yet.
out
Never got
because
it.
I'm like,
Wow.
I didn't even
Okay.
care about my health. I'm like, I'm gonna be fine. I'm not gonna die. I know that, so I don't care.
Yeah.
I was just mad because I was like, I can't cancel this shoot, and I can't not show up because they'll never book me again. Like, you get one chance with that kind of a big job, right?
Oh, yeah.
So, bro, I got all these treatments. I had IVs coming through. I had a nurse in here every hour putting something in my body. And come Thursday night, I flushed it out. And I got on the plane. I went there, and it was nuts. I mean, technically, you know, everyone's wearing masks and shit, but we're shooting outside, and like also the models and like crew, like we're not really wearing masks. Or sorry, the models aren't, but crew, the whole production. I mean, they've got 50, 75 people in production. It's a huge production, you know, multi-million-dollar production. So they're all wearing masks. It's still COVID, but it was super sick, dude. I mean, we're shooting on, you know, a 200-foot yacht, seaplanes, jet skis, hover, or what's it called? The surfboard, the foil
Oh,
thing.
yeah, the foil, yeah.
Dude, we were just doing the coolest shit. I'm like, the fact that I'm getting paid to do this is insane. Like, even doing this for free would be insane.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, it was super cool. But long story short, the modeling world just completely shut down the past 2 years. It's finally coming back because even still, like right now, there's still like, if I go to London and I do a job, I have to have a visa. By the time they get me a visa and book my business class flight and hotel and blah blah blah, if I get there and I test positive, they still have to pay me and then send me home. So it's not worth it for that brand to fly me from LA to Europe and then have to send me home if I test positive. So we're still like at the very end. It's not 100% gone yet. You know, jobs like Coors are still happening. I'm still able to do stuff a little bit more local, but like I would say we're maybe 85 to 90% there for our industry, kind of like, you know, getting back to
Yeah,
100%. We're close, but not all the way.
I feel you. Let me ask you, did this moment in COVID, did this make you kind of think going like, let me start a company with my audience? Because you probably got to kind of, I'm catching you kind of got a shock shift, right? To an extent. Like, wait, I need to be
Dude,
flying. I need to be like shooting.
100%, because you know what it is? It's like I lived on airplanes for the past 5 years. Like I literally have never been anywhere for more than like 2 weeks max. Like 2 weeks would be like a long time that I'm in LA at home. And then I'm like
Wow.
out and about wherever.
That's
So
crazy.
that was kind of the biggest shock. It wasn't even like that I have time to myself. It was just like I'm sitting in one place. And I ended up actually going to my family's house because my mom was cooking. It's just, you know, better vibes all around. I wanted to be with them.
Mm.
And yeah, so it was really interesting because, you know, it got to a point where like, you know, we don't know what's going on with COVID, right? Like, at what
Yeah.
point is this stuff going to be over? But it was really cool because I have a great family. I had a great place to go, and you know, fortunately, I was like, all right, I got all this time now. What do I do? And at first, I'm like DJing, I'm spinning music, I'm just screwing around, trying to pass time, smoking weed, whatever.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, all right, like a month has gone by. Like, what am I doing in my life? Because I can't sit here and just do nothing. And I was like, you know what? This Glassie opportunity that I have, that I was a little bit more hands off in the beginning. I was kind of like part of this agency. We were using a lot of my network and my contacts. I
More
connected
of a
dots, but I was a
marketing
little bit more,
like aspect.
yeah, I was a little bit more hands off. And then come COVID, we were like, all right, we've got this unique opportunity with this particular product. You know, I started to really chat with my co-founders a lot more, and just regularly think like, well, we could do this, we could do this. And we kind of just started shooting the can around. And eventually we were like, all right, like this vision went from here to way out here. And that just kind of, you know, naturally made me sink my teeth in. And I kind of felt, to your point, Michael, like there was a timing thing, right? Like I either, you know, jump into something where I can sink my teeth and really put myself out there and be passionate, or I just wait for this time to go by and I just go back to regular life after. And I'm not someone to wait. I'm not patient. So because I believed in the product, because I have a great team, and I believe in the vision, I was like, this is something I think I could do. You know, the next 3 to 5 years are going to be insane work. It's going to be a lot of, growth and a lot of craziness. But if we can succeed and we can do this well, it could change our lives, like completely change our lives. So we're like just super enthusiastic now. As I mentioned, we've gotten to a point where we've raised money. We've got great backers. We've got a great team, great product. We're making movies.
You guys are Apple in the garage, but now you're kind of
Yeah,
buzzing out
bro,
of it,
we're
right? The
getting
garage
ready.
door is slamming off, right? It's hitting
Yeah,
the ceiling now. I
yeah.
feel that. Wow,
Another
that's
year and a
crazy.
half, 2 years. We want to be completely different. I don't want to recognize what we're even doing today. So, we've got a lot of room to grow, but we've got a really awesome opportunity. And yeah, I mean, COVID and kind of the timing,
Yeah,
almost like
yeah,
what you were saying earlier about how we're all on the phone right now and how you and I spoke 2 years ago. It's like, I don't believe anything in life is random. I don't believe it.
yeah.
Not to get into religion and stuff, but like nothing in life is random, in my opinion. It is all serendipitous. It is all tied through ones and zeros and cross, pollinated events that we're all an accumulation of one experience here right now in this reality. And I just don't believe shit's random. The fact that I'm on this phone call right now, not random. The fact that I
No,
started Glassie,
100.
not random. The fact that you and I spoke 2 years ago, not random.
No, 100%, man. I feel it. I
That's what's
And
feel it.
up.
now
Yeah.
it's just like,
It's the
what do we
universe.
do with it? What do we
Yeah.
do with it? Now that I realize it's not random, I either flip it on its head and have fun with life, or I become a slave to the system. And I'm not one to do that. So here we are.
Yeah, 100%, bro. Like Ian and I, we're like, what are we doing, man? We're so chilling. Like life's awesome, We work hard though, right? We work really hard. But like this is a medium for us to just give back, communicate, not really give back, but we enjoy casually relaxing.
Yeah.
And as well, if people enjoy watching, I feel this
Well,
is
it
a
is
super
giving
cool
back because it's like educating our
platform.
audience too.
Yeah,
Like, hey, if you're passionate and ambitious, you can do whatever you want. Everything will fall into place. You just gotta, you know, take the leap and start
exactly.
moving forward. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And attached to all that, like I see, like it's awesome because it was kind of like a blessing in disguise, that COVID moment, because like you already have such entrepreneurial, like, it's like signaling off, always probably thinking entrepreneurially, but you're successful in taking like really physically to do that other, endeavor with the modeling. So you had the time to really sit back and look at the other side of the property, if you will, of the house that you haven't really seen in some time, but it's there with going home a lot more maybe, right? And just, and putting that energy with your crew, your group, and you built a
Yeah.
great company. And it's awesome that you did that now. I think it's better you do it young. I think you'll be happy. I think it's awesome you did that
100%.
now. Yeah, nothing else went anywhere. It's kind of like it all paused for you in a way. Pretty awesome.
Exactly. Yeah, it was
And
cool.
attached to what Ian just said in terms of like fruitful for the audience, because we always have that vibe, and I love to learn more. What would you say to somebody that's like young, like you were, that's even in this modeling, because it's unique, man. You're rare, bro. Good looking guy, right? No,
Thank you. Thank
it's not everybody. We're not ugly. We're all good looking, but you got that going on, right? So
Thank
what
you.
would you say to a kid that's like he's good looking, he has experiences with people, he's going viral. You went viral off of that. You didn't
Right.
need a Ferrari. You didn't need the yacht behind you, bro. You just went and smiled, amazing, went crazy. And you're getting all these opportunities with the whole school shift. That was a deep shift for you. You're saying it lightly, we're just talking casually, but
Yeah, right.
what would you say to someone that was similar to your position? Like, what would you say to that kid that may see this? Because we have so many young people that follow us, entrepreneurs, even older, bro. It's such a shift.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's so many things I could say. There's a million and one lessons I've learned. I think,
Mm,
the one of the biggest things I would say is, obviously you have to believe in yourself. If you don't have conviction in what you think you can do, no one else is going to have it for you. So you have to be the source of that energy daily, every single minute of the day, every second of every minute. So that's probably one of my biggest pieces of advice. Secondarily, journal, journal, journal. Write shit down. People don't write shit down. We live in a world of like everything's on your phone and no, I'm gonna remember it and whatever. The amount of times that I've written someone a personal handwritten letter and then called me back on the phone the minute they read it and be like, yo, Niels, I got your letter. Like that was crazy. Because no one does that shit anymore. So when
mm,
you want something in life, you got to figure out how to get it. And you got to be thinking outside the box. And part of that is like, write shit down, have goals, be detail oriented. and be organized, because when you are those things, you can literally be whatever you want. And I'm no perfect case. Yeah, there's a lot of luck involved in what happened in my life. There's a lot of hard work too, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. And a lot of it comes down to, like, I had really hard days. I still have really hard days. But the vision and the light at the end of the tunnel for me and what I believe I'm capable of, irrelevant of what everyone else thinks, that keeps me going. And that's probably my biggest piece of advice is, like, you got to be able to fail forward. I fail so hard, so fast, so quick, and I admit it the minute it happens, and I love it. I love failing because I learn. And I think that's like a real big issue with society in today's day and age, is like people are afraid to fail. They don't want to have a label, or they didn't do it right, or they weren't cool enough, or they didn't wear the right fit, or some stupid shit. And it's like, so it bothers me, because I'm like, everyone's capable. I was having this conversation with my girlfriend the other night, where you think about the guys that run a marathon, right? I've got friends that have ran marathons that I never would have imagined ran a marathon. And you know what it is? I grew up an athlete. It's not athletic ability. It's that they believe they can do it. They put themselves in a position where they tell their body, you are super. You can keep running. I don't need to stop. And it's almost like you hypnotize yourself. And that's greatness. There's a level where that can get dangerous, but there's a sweet spot where that's so powerful, where the average Joe could run a marathon. Meanwhile, I, who consider myself athletic, I'm like, shit, I can never run a mile or whatever.
I'm one of those guys, half marathon.
There we go. And you know what? All it is that you believe you can do it, and you failed forward, So that's my biggest piece of advice. Write shit down and fail forward and admit it.
Nah,
that's
super
it.
Major. I really appreciate you breaking that down. That was
yeah.
game. Yeah, I love the fail forward, man. I might have to use that on you, man. I have to use that somewhere else.
And people don't really remember your
that
failures. They only remember your successes once you succeed, So.
Yeah, no, that's going in my like Batman belt, I'm gonna be using that. I love it. And another question of like real value, I love to hear myself, not to be selfish, I'm sure everyone else too. But, and through your success, and you're young, you got a lot more to come. I already know you have so much more to come, and I look forward to building with you. Both business and every which way.
Yeah,
we're gonna do a lot.
Likewise.
Of things together, a lot of big things. But what would you say is like a morning routine? I like to ask this to people. Like, what would be your first few things? I feel that determines.
Great question.
Yeah,
it's a good question. It varies, right? Because if I'm traveling, if I've got to be 5 places in a month, it's really hard sometimes to keep like a consistent routine. But if I am home and I'm in a more controlled environment and I'm kind of more in control of my schedule, I always start my day with working out. I work out because it's just like a decompression. I'll still peek my email and all that shit and like start looking and getting, all worked up about the day. But the first thing I do is I work out. I try not to like.
So you still do peep it.
All right, you want me to give you the real details?
Yeah, like the first like details, because people want to know this. This is like major. Yeah.
Here's what I do. I wake up and I take 0.25 milligrams of mushrooms. I take that right before I go to the gym, and then I have my pre-workout. By the time I'm out of the gym, the mushrooms have kicked in. And I get the mushrooms from the best place, holistically grown, blah, 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 blah. The reason I do that is because for me, it helps unlock a sense of superpower, to be honest. I have a stable mood. I have, a problem comes my direction and I observe it and I respond, versus typically I'm a pretty reactive guy. If you told me bad news, I might be like, oh shit, and like get all worked up. But I do that because I know it gives me peak performance. And I want to be in homeostasis. I want to, whether it's good news or bad news, I want to just be a sponge. Like, okay, cool, no problem. Easy going. Let's figure it out.
What kind of mushrooms are you eating?
Like regular, like mushrooms.
Just healthy, organic mushrooms.
No, like psilocybin. Like psilocybin, like hallucinogenic mushrooms.
Oh, you do? Are you serious? So you do that first?
Yeah, microdose. Yeah, microdose in the morning.
Yeah, microdose.
Yeah, microdose.
Okay.
So you're not, I could pitch my
minimal.
company to Mark Cuban. If Mark Cuban called me right now, I took it earlier. Like, here I am having this conversation. It's like, you're not hallucinating. There's no trip.
No, I'm savvy with it. One of my closest boys does it all the time. One of my
exactly. So So I do that, and then if I have a tight timeline, I might not make breakfast, but otherwise I always make myself breakfast. I don't order shit. I make it myself. I get fresh ingredients, eggs, whatever, bacon, this, that. I make my stuff, and then if I can, I try and meditate for like 5, 10 minutes, even five. If I got a phone call, whatever, breath work for even 1 minute. You don't understand how like your body gets so like caught in a cycle that if you just tell it to pause for a second, it like releases all these chemicals in your brain. You're firing a lot like more efficiently and more effectively. So that's kind of it. Wake up, take mushrooms, go work out, have my caffeine, come back, eat, and then get my mind right. I have to get my mind right before I jump into work, before I'm on my computer, because otherwise it's just too much. So that allows me to kind of be in a place of like bliss every day when I start my day. And yeah, I think the mushroom thing is a variable. It's not for everyone. Not everyone's going to want to
Yeah,
do it
it's very interesting.
for
I
sure.
appreciate you saying that.
Yeah,
Because that's interesting.
it's a thing. I've got a lot of buddies who do it that are big entrepreneurs, and they kind of put me on, and we do these Sunday sessions where it's a lot more in depth. It's like a 6 hour guided trip. It's a full blown thing, but you know what it is? It's the best way to end a week and the best way to start a week. And I love it. I've really started to get more into my spirituality. I'm really into like all kinds of you know left shit. I won't even bring it up now, but we could have another whole podcast about this kind of
I
stuff.
got you.
Um,
You're tapping in.
I-
You're tapping into yourself, right? And you're going deep.
yeah, but
And
that's
you're
it.
interested in that. You're interested in that.
I've
whole
heard
process.
also like lion maze too. It's like a form of mushroom,
Yeah.
but not to that
There's
extent.
there's a lot of different
Yeah.
kinds. There's a really great
Helps with the
documentary
memory
called,
and things like that. So I started kind of
yeah.
like,
There's
here
a
and
good
there.
documentary you guys should check out called Fantastic Fungi. It's a really, really cool story. There's a guy, I won't tell you everything. Basically, a guy who had like a lisp and a speech impediment. He takes like a full bag of mushrooms. He speaks perfectly now. It changed his life. He started studying mushrooms, and there's all these. I mean, I don't know how many, dozens, hundreds of mushrooms, whatever. And this guy kind of has, this brand now where he takes all these different ones like turkey tail and blah 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 blah. He's got a whole brand, and it's just something cool to follow. I'm all about, as I said earlier, like related to high school, like I've always wanted to grow. Like I know that if you consider yourself like great and that you can do good things, you can always be better. You can always do better things. So for me, I'm always just like, what's next? What can I do? How can I keep growing and optimizing? And I just feel like if I keep thinking that way and I keep finding like unique idiosyncrasies that allow me to be just a better version of myself, I'm just gonna keep growing and growing and growing.
Yeah, I forgot which celebrity I heard. I don't know if it was Will Smith or somebody, but they said, I'm chasing myself 10 years from now, And when I get there,
Yeah.
I'm chasing my other future self 10 years from now. Because it's always like, how do you better yourself each time,
Yeah,
So
I tell
see
my
that.
boys, I tell my
Yeah,
team, my
yeah.
staff, I tell them we're working in the future. Like, what's next? What's coming? Yeah,
Yep.
it's always that. You got to stay in the future, man. It's amazing, man. I love the breakdown. Unbelievable. And I'm so
Cool
happy
stuff.
you joined us today, man. We got to get in touch.
Absolutely.
You're over in LA, New York. Keep us in the
Miami.
loop. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. And I got to get one of those screen protectors too. I'm gonna buy.
Yeah, I got
some,
you, bro.
Ian will
I got
buy
you.
some. Yeah. that'd be
Yeah.
awesome.
I think we're chatting tomorrow, so I'll get you
Yeah.
set up once we chat tomorrow. Yeah.
Amazing. I appreciate you, Niels. Appreciate you coming on. All right, bro. Keep killing it.
Of course. Guys, thank you for the time. Much appreciated. Great chat.
Thank you, man.
This is
All
great.
right.
Appreciate you. We'll be
Keep
in
in
touch.
touch.
You already know. Everybody follow Niels. I'll have my guys add some stuff below. We'll get you to
Sounds good.
2.2 now. And then Ian, show
Let's
Niels some love
go.
on the Billionaires Club.
Oh,
I'll
of
show him
course.
love. And we do some
1000%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Already started
Oh,
following,
thank you.
liking, and then we're going to post this,
Yeah, exactly. We'll do some
Sick.
stuff, all right? All
Sick.
love
Yeah.
with you, man. All right.
All right, guys. Thanks so much.
Peace.
Cheers.
All right, man.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you for watching this episode. We upload a new episode every Friday at 5 p.m. EST, Eastern Standard Time. We as well greatly appreciate those that have subscribed to the channel. We appreciate the love and the support. Lastly, if you've missed last week's episode, tune into the episode right here.